So thank you very much, Richard, for holding fort. And thank you to you, our audience, for staying, get it right with the Tara Solutions. And yes, the Kisumu people, please tell us when we can bring our coffee there. We are going to Mombasa on the 13th of September. Please, I hope you guys have registered and you're ready to come and learn. And guess what? By the way, this is something that we haven't let out. But to you, you can only know that we will have an ELRC judge as a keynote address. So one of our speakers is a judge from ELRC, and you guys are in for a treat. So Mombasa, Tupo. I hope that you guys can join us on the 13th of September from 5 o'clock. So if you're coming anywhere from Nairobi, you can take your 8 o'clock train and get to Mombasa by 2 o'clock, or you can fly down with the 3 o'clock flight and you'll be able to be there on time. So karibuni sana. Kilifi Mwasija, karibuni sana. I am looking forward to seeing you there. Richard and I will be there as your hosts and of course our partner Sparkle. And we are very, very excited to have you, and we're going to have very, very wonderful conversations, a lot of fun and networking. Other than that, allow us to recognize our partners. We have unfortunately, I'm not able to share my screen, but we have Herbert Zake. Herbert Zake is our partner from Kampala, Uganda. Thank you very much, Herbert Zake. Herbert Zake is actually a Gallup certified coach, and he actually does coaching. So if you wish to learn more about yourself, to be coached, and you're based in Uganda, please get in touch with Herbert Zake. His organization is called Steadfast Quality Solutions. They are in HR consulting and public relations. If you're looking to have your board evaluations done, if you're looking to have board trainings done, then Steadfast Quality Solutions are your people. We also have K Square HR Services. K Square HR Services are our partners in Kigali, Rwanda. And if you're looking for HR support in Kigali, then K Square HR Services are your people. And they're the host of the Africa Confederation Association conference that's happening on November from 22nd of from 20th to 22nd of November. Sorry. And then we have Nilefront Cottages. Oh my God. Nilefront Cottages are also cottages located in Jinja, Uganda. For the Ugandans in the room who have not been to Nilefront, you are missing out. As well as Kenyans, it is about 2 hours drive from Busia border. And it's such a magical place. You can just Google them and see what I'm talking about. It is so beautiful to be there. It is amazing. And of course, Atara Solutions, your host for all your HR services. If you're looking for recruitment services, if you're looking for learning and development services, if you're looking for HR consulting, where we will do your HR audits, we will do your policy reviews, we will do your culture audits, among others, please get in touch with us. And of course, we are the hosts of Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, which is the program that you're tuned in today. We are here every day every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to about 9 o'clock. And of course, with my co-host, Richard Magoma, who just introduced himself. I don't know whether, Richard, have you introduced yourself? Or you were just talking about Get It Right?
I have not, now that we are dealing with business, I've not totally introduced myself so that I can get a few businesses from our audience. I can do it as I welcome Nelson.
Okay, fine. Sawa. Then we have a sign language interpreter, Catherine Sidandi, who is our sign language interpreter. She helps us be inclusive, and she will be at Hotel Sapphire on the 13th of September in Mombasa. Please come and meet us all, come and network, come and interact with us, and come and learn. Like I said, we have a judge from ELRC who will be our keynote address. So you are in for a treat. And at only 1,000 bob, you can look at the flyers for more details. And over to you, Richard.
Thank you so much. Let us appreciate Grace, the moderator of choice, for that wonderful introduction to the program. I am your host, Richard J. Magoma. I am a human resource practitioner. I am a trainer. I am a writer. I am also into public speaking. But today, we are going to have our good friend Nelson Ogudha, the management. That is how we call him. He's an award-winning. Grace, I don't know why you forgot about you are also an award-winning. And I'm also an award-winning human resource practitioner. But that is not where we are here today. We are here to understand how we should use data analytics for business partnership roles. Tonight, we have my good friend Nelson Ogudha, the management. He's an award-winning human resource practitioner. Over to you, Nelson. Tell us how we should use those statistics, facts, in order to get those business partnership roles. Over to you, Nelson.
Yes, thank you, Jellican, and thanks to Grace for giving us this chance that we come into her space. And also thanks to the team that is here that are looking forward to hearing what I have to say. And I believe I'll be able to give in a good content for us that we're able to utilize wherever we are working at, so that we proceed and continue delivering quality. So for those who may not know me, my name is Nelson, as Jerican has said, Nelson Ogudha, aka the management. I like the name because it reminds me of when I was struggling to uphold a business. And Joanne, who is here, Joanne Tonui, was my classmate during then. So she was reading and I would go and pick notes from her because I was running a business. So yeah, so that name reminds me of my days. So now we want to look into an interesting topic, and basically we have few minutes remaining, and I would request that should we not satisfy your needs, we are still there and you can actually always come back. So to my first question, I would want to ask, which department are you representing? Do you work in HR? Do you work in IT, in operations? So I would want to know so that I now proceed knowing who I have on the call. So I'll appreciate your numbers because you are in numbers class. So we need to see responses coming out. That's how we do analytics. We depend on numbers to know what you are doing.
Edna said L&D, several have said HR, Alfred Okemo HR, Moira Adeka said HR, Carol Mbutia HR, Joan People Operations, Stephen Bogwa HR, Stephen Otana Finance, Faith Njoroge Human Resource, Martin Matsonga Human Capital, Patrick Nzuki Human Resource. We have Judith Irukana HR, Samuel Murioki Human Resource, Dennis Tio Human Resource, Dennis Tio has said Human Resource, Caroline Karanja Human Resource, Jamila Jams Human Resource, Fatuma Ramadhani Human Resource, Ann Mumbua Human Resource Advisory, Ann Mbuvi HR, Rhoda Ndanu, my good friend, Human Resource, Marceline
Okay, I
Atieno
see.
Program.
Yes, Jellican, I see we are having more of HRs in the team and a few of us in finance, sales and programs, digital marketing and all that. So thank you very much for attending in that good numbers. So actually my content covers not only HR, so be at peace. And what we are looking at is how do we do data analytics in our role as business partners. Remember, as a business partner, you may not be actually an analyst. So what we're looking for, I'm going to take a route where I challenge which questions should you be asking now that you are a business partner who understands the business. So which question should you be asking so that you can now drive in the analytical aspects? Yeah, so that you can now build in and request for more numbers, or how do you get more numbers into your presentations? So that's what I want to look at in a nutshell. So work with me, and should you need any clarification, I'll be here. So my experience has been in various industries. I've been into hospitality, in the hotels. I've been into manufacturing. I have tried manufacturing things. I've been in the retail sector, in automotive, and now into security industry. So you believe this one gives might represent most of us here who might be in these industries. And if I have left a few, then I've also been into them as I do consulting on HR and business analysis. So I believe this is where I've worked for most of my 8 years in HR. And I believe I've taken at least a year in every of those industries. So to our next stage. So what is business partnership? So business partnership is a concept that has been there. It's not that these things are new. It has been there. It's only that now it has come out as titles that we hold in companies. So should you find someone with business title, business partnership as a title, then this is what it means is that they have the domain expertise. So we have people here who have done human resource, people who have done law, people who are in sales, people who are in finance. So they have their domain expertise, meaning that they are experts in that field. So if you ask them about labor laws for HR people, they'll narrate to you word by word. If you ask them for financial reporting standards and they're in finance, they'll narrate to you from A to Z. They know how to accrue. They know how to balance the books. So that is why we're saying that they have the domain expertise. Yeah. Then now the next thing that now comes in is that we now have to have this domain expertise to mirror our business. So now your domain expertise sitting on the side. So how does it look into the business? Yeah, so you are a HR. Then now you take your HR and now mirror it to the business. And as you do that, you look into key concepts. And here we're looking at strategic alignment. So how does your domain expertise help the business in strategic alignment? How do you align strategic objectives of the company? We want to achieve this. So how do you come in and query and help the business? How do you create value? This is always the most difficult thing that you ever have. What value are you adding? And in most cases, I've been asked this: what is your value in this company? Sometimes we struggle with it. What is the value of this thing that you want to do? Then cross-functional impact. So how does your HR impact other departments? How does your sales impact other departments? How does your finance impact other departments? How does your L&D skills impact other departments? So cross-functional impact. So are you a person that sits on their desk and wait for issues to come on their side, and then now from there, they can now give their ideas? Or are you one that is collaborative enough to do that? So in short, what we're trying to explain here is that business partnership is driving business success through domain expertise. So you already have your domain expertise. You are expert. We will not beat you for that. Yeah. So now we are looking at that expertise that you have. How does it change the business? Now, for you to be a proper HRBP, you must know these things. And if I will tell you a story, I was in a company that I was deeply challenged after my probation. I was called in and I was asked, now that you completed your probation, you are good enough. Then I said, yes. You see, I've come in, I've changed 1, 2, 3 things, and you're already there. Then now we have to ask now, as a HRBP, what products are we selling? Then I could only say 3 products out of 10. Yeah. So what products do you know, or services does your company offer? Do you know all of them? Do you know which product is doing better and which one is not doing better, and the company is okay with it? Yeah. Do you know which product is a cash cow? Yeah. Do you know which product is a premium kind of in that company that you work for? So how are they even produced, or what services do we have? So as a HRBP, you must be able to fluently explain or say the product that you offer and the services and how they sit in the market, because each product has got its competitor. Like if I tell you Geisha has got sour as its competitor. Yeah. Jama has got the other one, don't know what it's called, as a Baso. They also have another competitor that goes hand in hand with it. So do you know each of all those products? Or if you have services, how do these services compare in the market? That's as a HRBP, for you to understand the role properly. Now, understand who the customers are and their needs. So who are the customers? Now you are a HRBP, so in delivering internal customers, I know we always talk about internal customers every now and then, but as a business, who are our customers? Are we selling to a middle class? Are we selling to people who are not in the middle class, the lower class, or are we selling to those who have made it? So who are we selling to? Yeah. So how do you interact with the business? How do they interact with the business? How do they come to the services that you are offering? Do they drive in? Do you talk to them on calls? Do you have sales agents? So how do these people interact with your business? So that you get to understand that this is how it is done. A good example is that I would want to give an example from where I have passed through. I've been in the hospitality industry where customers will have to come for the accommodation in the hotel. So they interact with your product directly with your staff also. Yeah. Then I've worked in retail where Unilever will produce their oil and they send to supermarket where the customer will go to buy it. So the customer is not even interacting with the actual staff of Unilever, but a third party staff. So do you actually understand how this works? Yeah. So then the next one is that the basic financial reports. How do we make money? Are we selling direct to the customer? Are we selling to the wholesalers first, then the retail? Are customers buying online without knowing who we are? Yeah. Are we having representatives like a bit business to business kind of? So that's how we're making our money. So what does our financial reporting look like? What is our budget? Because if you are in HR and you want to review a performance of a finance person, what will you be looking at? Do you even understand what they do? Yeah. So if you are going to recruit 30 people, what does it have to the financial decisions of the company? That's what we're asking ourselves as a HRBP. Do you understand these concepts? Or are we still at a HRBP level? If you are in HR, are you at HRBP level at the domain expertise where what you're concerned with is the disciplinaries and all that? If you are in finance as a HRBP, are you still just balancing the books and not engaging any other person? Don't even understand who are our top tier clients because you do reporting and tax returns. Yeah. So overview of major competitors. Who are our competitors? Not only will the competitors say, pick your customers, they will also pick your employees, right? Not only will your competitors take the market share, but they'll also be affecting your employer brand. Because if a competitor becomes a better employer brand, so what are you doing as a BP? Remember, employer branding is for all levels in the business. It should be worrying the operations manager as much as the CEO, as much as the finance director, that our market, our brand awareness or brand exposure is now going down, and you cannot hire good staff because the operations guy will never get someone to run the machine because nobody wants us. So it should be that who are our competitors and how are they doing? What can we borrow from them? So I would want us to look into these concepts and ask ourselves that do we actually understand the business that we are operating in? Who are what are our products? Who are our customers? How do we interact with our business? What are our financial reports? Who are our competitors? And we will see how these play when now we start doing now analysis and playing your role. So, assume you are part of the strategic meeting at Tech Innovate, a laptop manufacturing firm with key objective to produce 5,000 units and achieving 80% of user experience score. What are the right questions to ask as a business partner that borders analytics? Now, analytics, we don't just do analytics because you have numbers, but because you want to answer a question. in analysis. You want to answer a question, or you want to justify an hypothesis that was made or that you made. So you must actually first start with the why. That's what we want to ask ourselves here. What are the right questions that will now draw you back to now start doing proper analysis? I don't know that my friend Felix Mulwa is here, and I saw Joanne here, who we also do analytics with her. And they will tell you that when you're doing analytics, you not start with the numbers that you see, but you start with the proper questioning. Then from the proper questioning, now you can go back and analyze. So if you cannot ask proper questions, then you will analyze what will not be required by your stakeholders. So let's take an example. I prepared a few examples here of a few questions that we'll be able to ask. Yeah, so you'll be able to add more as you move, so that I'll also give you a chance that you can add more that I shall have left. So we want to produce 5,000 units and achieve 80% user experience. So if you buy a laptop called Nelson the Management, that's the laptop brand, you should produce 5,000 of them. And if you're using it, you must be very happy up to 80%. Others will deal with 20% will deal with it. Yeah. So for a HR in that kind of a discussion, to me, I would want to first ask myself with a metric on labor efficiency rate. That is what I'll calculate. I'll want to look at labor efficiency rate. I want to ask myself, and I want to ask the team, do we have the right skilled workers for the production line? Now, what this question means is that as HR, you've understood the production line. So how does the production start? Where do we start mixing the material and all that? So now we remember not asking ourselves here, how many people are we hiring? No. Remember, you're a business and business partner. So business has to perform. We already have some people. So we're asking ourselves, what is the skilled workers? How many do we have? Then now from there, you can now substantiate and say, we need to hire 3 people, or we need to train more people. So that's to achieve the right skill. So I think you are able to see how that question is framed, which is different. I would say a normal HR, not a business partner, would ask, how many people are we hiring? Or do we have enough staff? No. As a partner, we are looking at now, how do we support the business? And supporting the business here is getting the nitty-gritties of the bigger picture. The bigger picture of producing 5,000 laptops is not about number of people, it's about the skills. And remember, we want 80% user experience out of 100. Yeah. I would also want to ask myself, training effectiveness. We have been training teams, and how does that training process help in the production quality? So I want to go and check, do we have defects? If we trained on how to prepare, how to place a keyboard, how many products are coming back with defects? So is our training actually effective? So we don't just say that we want to train staff, so give us a budget. No, we're asking ourselves, what programs are necessary for us to produce 5,000 laptops? We've been producing 4,000. So what skill do we need to require, do we need to add so that we can produce more laptops? It's about looking at the bigger picture. Yeah, not a reactionary bit. Employee turnover. What can we do to reduce turnover during this critical period? Remember the question here, not saying, we're not asking ourselves, what is the turnover rate? We know you know turnover rate. That's why you are a domain expert in HR. So we ask you, you need to tell us, how do we reduce the turnover? Have you understood who is leaving? So is it the critical position who is leaving, or essential position? Is it a regrettable loss? Is someone stole? Is it still that you need to tell us that we are losing more people and people are stealing? So if they're stealing, is it because our policy has a gap? Or is it that we did not do proper ref check, so we are hiring thieves? Is it because the person who gave us this person, her referral, was also a thief? So you need to ask ourselves, how do we reduce turnover rate? Because we don't want to calculating turnover rates every now and then. But if we do calculate them, so what is the interpretation of that turnover rate to the business? So we lost Jellican, or we lost Lillian Karongo, because she was dissatisfied with our package, so and so took her. Then you are saying that now, are we able to revise our succession plan Or are we able to revise our compound Ben? So you see, now we are getting out of normal calculations and throwing the data and now giving actual details. Another question that I will ask as a HRBP is performance appraisal scores. How are people scoring? You will find good companies find people are scoring 100% in their performance reviews, but we're not achieving 5,000 laptops and 80%. So what are they doing that they're achieving that? Did you even review KPIs to see that the KPIs are actually correct? How can we enhance performance management process? Here it involves even KPI reviews. How do they look like? I'll give you an example here. If I to produce 5,000 laptops and we're using an integrated system, IT system, and the manager tells us that now they're saying that they want to be uptime, IT uptime, that is the system uptime, meaning the time that the system will be active at 90%. So we'll be able to achieve our 5,000 if the system actually want to achieve at 90% as a KPI. It won't work because we're setting a wrong KPI to achieve a greater results. So that's why we're asking ourselves, do you actually even understand the KPI that is being set? That's why we're asking you, do you understand the business, the product, how they are coming up, how they are being manufactured or services, how are we doing our business? Yeah. So if you are to be in finance, so what questions would you be asking as a business partner? Cost per unit. So how much is going to cost us? What do we project as cost per unit for laptop? And how can we maintain this cost without affecting the quality of the product? As a finance, you need to understand the costing model so that you don't miss something from the costing. Remember, if you missed costing here, then you're going to also miss on your gross margin. I want to believe so. If you have a wrong costing, then you also have a wrong projected gross margin. So you have to be sure that whatever you are costing is actually accurate. Operating cash flow. Do we have enough money, sufficient liquidity, that even if tomorrow we produce, if we don't have sales, how are we going to do it? Or are we able to buy raw materials to provide 5,000? So the production team might have set their target, or the board is very happy to produce 5,000. They want to push the ambition. But as a finance BP, you want to ask a simple question. Are we liquid enough to sustain the production targets? Yeah. Then what is the ROI of this investment? And I know we do a lot of ROI, the IRR, the NPVs of this time. So we want to look at that. How is it coming out for us? Are we going to achieve something for this 5,000? We are going to produce 5,000, but there is no major ROI on that, on quality improvements. Yeah. So ask ourselves, what is the budget variance? If you're going to cover the cost, necessary costs, the investment material, technology, labor, yeah, where do we need to have more resources so that you can inform the team and tell the team that we need to have more resources here and there. That is a bit of budgeting. That's how budgeting is done. You're looking at what we need to do in all this process of producing 5,000 and a customer experience of 80. So where do we put our resources? And that means that you're going to have a collaborative discussion as a team. That's what HRB, that's what business partners drive, collaboration towards business strategies. If I were in IT, I would ask myself, automation coverage in quality control. Now, there are things that actually we need to check the qualities of this. If you have a software to check the quality, can they check the quality even before it goes out? We always have the quality analysts and quality assurance people, quality controls. If you have an IT system that was to check on the quality, how good would it be? Yeah. Or if you're to bring in a mechanism to test on quality, to check on quality, how good would it be? Yeah. System uptime, what I talked about. So these are a good example. I've given you a laptop with a battery. So the battery of the laptop should take you for 8 hours. But the work that you want to do needs 9 hours. It means that your system will be up for 8 hours out of 9. So you need a power backup to make it to 9 hours. So that's why I'm asking the IT here need to tell us, does our infrastructure in terms of internet, in terms of the power backup, all that in our systems, can allow us to run to produce 5,000? Yeah. So if IT person says that we're going to have a system uptime of 95%, then what is the 5% that we're going to miss? Does 95% mean they're going to produce 5,000? Or 95% mean they're going to produce 4,900? What of the 100 that is remaining? Who wants to take that cost? So we ask them, and they are going to tell us whether the IT infrastructure is capable of supporting the production that we have. Yeah. Data management. How do we gather that data? Do we have a system where we can gather data to allow us optimize our production process, to allow us reduce defects, to allow us improve user experience? So are we going the IT side, because we know that for us to get user experience, we need to do some surveys. Are we going to do the surveys on paper, then convert? They should help us with automation, right? That's why we're asking them. They should ask themselves, how do we get that data easily for the marketing team? Being an IT doesn't mean that you are there to support people when their laptops are off, they cannot log in into Outlook. So you go key in the password and reset password. It's about asking, how do I support in terms of automating work? So how do I automate the bit of HR to help them have data very fast? Incident response rate or response time. So we want to look at, how do we get our data? Are they protected enough? Cyber threats and all that. Can we scale up the production? I want to finish up by looking into one marketing business partner. I don't know whether your companies have this, but it's good times that you have this currently, because I've been to places where marketing and sales are still doing the old age things, where they tell you that as an employee, you should not be posting on behalf of the company. And at the same time, they're telling you to go to LinkedIn and update your profile that you work with the company. So what do they mean? Is the title in the company better enough than what you'll be saying in LinkedIn? So again, you'll say, okay, that's a thing that we're also looking into. So, and a marketer, if I was a marketing person or a marketing business partner, have you seen this advert that says that our client is looking for HR officer or a finance controller? Our client. If I were a HR, a business partner in marketing, I would tell the outsourced firm to stop using our client, to use the actual company name. The advert will go far and wide, which means we are going to reach more people that we never thought in an easier way. People who never knew about your company will now know the company based on the advert, right? So I would ask the advertising company to say that XYZ or a Tata Solution is looking for finance director, not our client. Who is our client? It is for the business. So what questions will you be asking? Let's go back to our 5,000 laptops. How can we ensure that 5,000 laptops we produce meet the current demand? Do we actually even know the current sales that we are having? So that if you produce 5,000, we won't be storing them. Or in our sales and marketing department, we've received a demand of 6,000. We want to produce 5,000. Then are we going to achieve? What will be the effect of a customer asking us for a laptop which we don't have? Yeah. So are we actually even going to get in our market share? That should be the question that the marketing or the salesperson should be asking about the production. What about the market share? Are we going to satisfy the demand? Yeah. Brand equity. How can we enhance our brand reputation to align with goals of achieving 80% user experience score? What do we need to tell people about this product, that when they sit in the market, they understand this product is a good product? How do we train people? Or how do people train themselves? Who taught you how to use Zoom? I want to believe that the brand equity that was done by Zoom is better, and even WhatsApp. That they never trained us on how to use Zoom, but we found ourselves using it properly well because of how it was done, that the reputation of the brand has been higher, that you can actually come and use and to say that Zoom is working properly. It's a well thought marketing strategy. Yeah. So Net Promoter Score, we need to measure what is the experience of our customers. Do we have that emotional bit of it? Yeah. The conversion rate, we always get the channels. People are asking us about this product on this and this and this side, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from through calls. We are even marketing in Grace's in Atara Solutions webinar. So are we converting that to a business that can be used? Yeah. How many requests do we have? Are we converting that? So I want to pause there and ask, what can you add to these questions, or what questions do you have that you can ask me so that I can see how to frame them in? Jellican, I want to stop there.
Let us use the chat to propose more questions. Let us use the chat to propose more questions so that Nelson can be able to elaborate on them. Joan, you have been praised as one of those very key people in Kenya in terms of data analytics. Can you go with the first question? Give us the first question, Joan. Peter Ndwiga has written return on investment. Lydia Obara, I can see your hand is up. You can write your question. Leila, please use an example of an NGO sector that seeks to rebrand and restructuring. That probably is a different question. We will come to it later. Or Nelson, can you be able to tackle it?
Yes, an angel is looking to brand from, is it from a HR perspective or from what perspective?
Clarify that, Leila. Violet Onyango, competitors' activities, does it meet customer needs? Leila is saying from HR perspective. Let us keep the questions coming and observations. And also we have the Q&A up there. You can be able to send your questions. Timothy Murioki, what is your industry cost benefit ratio? Lydia Obara, how can we measure return on investment for qualitative HR attributes like teamwork as a result of team building, leadership, etc.? Frank Wambari, who is in the UK, how do you calculate attrition rates? Then we have Karen Butia. She's asking, what is the best tool to use when analyzing HR data? Coming, please keep the observations coming as well as we keep learning on how to provide value. Owings, Rabala, anybody from public sector, how do we internalize and apply these good points? Okay. We can keep our questions coming or observations so that we can really understand the role of human resource partner, or now today, I'm sure you've been told about marketing partner. Isaac Kamar, what is the metric for a service public sector like quality graduates in a university? What is the metric for a service public sector like quality graduates in a university? Peter Ndwega, very well, Nelson, for great presentation.
Okay, Jellican, now we can look into this and
All
start
right.
looking into them. Now, please use an example of an NGO sector that seeks to rebrand and restructure. So as a HRBP, you're looking to rebrand and restructure. One, for NGO, we know that you must have employees. And when you are rebranding, your employees becomes your champions, right? So do we have brand ambassadors internally to use? You can also go back and question yourself now. Within my team, are there people who have walked the same journey? Number two, I would also consider that when you are rebranding as an NGO, you also have your donors. So how do we leverage on our donors in terms of their contributions also for the bit of rebranding? Because as we rebrand, it's going to change even what we do. So how will the rebrand affect our culture? How will it affect our employee satisfaction? And this is what I did in my previous post on LinkedIn about the perturbations, what we call a smaller change. How does it affect the bigger picture? So if you're going to rebrand, how will that rebrand affect your employees in terms of, will they like it? So have you considered doing some few surveys on the same to look into that? So that's how we'll approach it as a business partner and look into it, how it will affect the employer branding, how our donors will look into it, and even the society, how does the brand looks like when now we go to the society? Does it revolve around what the society embraces? So to me, I will look into that way. So competitors' activities, I hope, Leila, that is clear. If not, you can still add a question, I'll get to it. Does it meet customer? So competitors' activities, does it meet customer needs? Yes, Violet, that's a good addition in that when you're now looking at your competitors, you also need to look at them. Are they doing what the customers actually want in the market? So that you know where the gaps are to come and add value to the discussion. Yeah, because you know that if your competitor is doing this, and this one happens more. I've seen it even in retail and even in manufacturing and hospitality, there where people always check what are they not doing properly, so that we can work on it better. Yeah, so checking on your competitors, what they do and the activities will also help you look into where they are weak and where they are strong. Then you can counter that on your side. Yeah. Timothy Muriki, what is your industry cost benefit ratio? That one I may not be able to declare. And also, I don't actually have it on my fingertips. So unless we look into it, I'll agree to that. Yeah. So then, how can you measure ROI for qualitative HR attributes like teamwork as a result of team building, leadership, etc.? Yes, Lydia Obara, I like these questions. Now, there are three types of ROI. Number one is financial ROI, which the finance person will automatically ask you every time you present a case. This financial ROI will affect the balance sheet directly. So this is an example. We trained Nelson on analytics. So he should be doing us more trainings because we are in the service industry. So Nelson should be training more people and we should be getting more business. So we want to see after training Nelson, are there business coming up? Now, we have number two, economic ROIs. Economic ROIs does not appear in the financial books of accounts, but they work out better because they're what are used as better employer or employer branding. Now, good leadership, we are saying that, or a team building activity. So why did we take you to a team building? We took you to a team building so that, because after doing employee engagement survey, it was shown that under team, the aspect of team, we scored 20% as the lowest. So we believe that when we take you for a team building activity, the next time you do employee engagement survey, we should see you scoring 30%. That's an increase of 10% based on team building. As a manager, we have trained you on leadership skills, maybe on emotional intelligence. You have been abusing people because of you cannot sustain your emotions. So after training you and taking you through mentorship class and all that, have the number of complaints reduced? So the reduction in number of complaints become an ROI, which is an economic ROI, meaning we can use it as best employer, the best satisfied, the company with the best satisfied employees. And the last ROI is the social ROI, where we look into social activity, the CSR activities A good example is you sponsor a child to school. So you go to a children's home and sponsor a child to go to school because they've not been going to school of school fees. So the next thing that you want to see is that, did the child attend school from first term to third term without missing school? Now that will become your ROI. If it is a yes, then 100% attendance to school compared to 50% attendance last year based on school fees. So you are able to justify. And actually, if you look at it properly, current NGOs don't accept donations of of clothes, because those are things that actually can't be tracked, and then we're doing them for the sake of doing them. You just go. Yeah. So if you're offering food, so how long can you offer food? I know an NGO that will not accept your donations if your donation is for a day's is of a day, because there's no sustainability. We not be able to check on the ROI on that. So if you're going to sustain, then sustain me for a month, so that now I can also know that in this month we have a properly nutritional child. If you offered something in the hospitals, you can actually always track. So I want to believe that is clearer. The ROIs are the three categories: social, economic, and financial. You can always look into them. So how do you calculate attrition rate? Attrition rate is almost the same as turnover rate, which is the number of exits divided by the number of employees, the average of number of employees at the start and at the end of the period. So if I have 10 employees who have left, and then we had 20 at the start and 30 at the end of the month, then I add the two and get the average, then divide by the then take number of employees who have left, divide by the average that I've gotten. So 30 plus 20, 50 divided by 225. So 10 divided by 25 will become our attrition rate. So sometimes people will say that attrition is different from turnover, because attrition might be people will not come back. No option of coming back. Like retrenched people sometimes may not actually come back because the positions are no longer there. Yeah. People who are dismissed will never come back because the positions, based on how they have left, they never come back. So that's what we call attrition. Looking at towards a demise of someone who will never come back. So turnover rate and attrition sometimes always the same, and it is you who now want to define what you have. So what is the best tool to use analyzing HR data? That will be my next bit, which I was saying that for me, I've been using Excel for the longest because it is easier for me and for my people that I work with. But you can still do others, like Power BI app is also an easier one to use. So up to there, just edit there. So learn Excel. Actually, forget everything and learn Excel. I want to do some posts on that. Forget everything and learn Excel. Anybody from public sector, how do we internalize and apply these good points? Okay, I'm going to look for your mates and then help. Yeah, what the metric of service public for a service public sector like quality graduates in a university? So if you're in a university and you want to check on the quality of your graduates, I think you can do in so many ways. Number one, you want to look at the absorption rate. Have you prepared them enough for them to be absorbed in their working environment? That's number one. Number two, I can look at it in based on innovations that they are actually be able to do. Yeah, you can have Nelson who will not work in a company, so I'll never be absorbed. But I want to do things that can be utilized in terms of innovation. I can come up with new ideas. Yeah, you can actually track your students to see how many of them have ventured into self-employment, so that you also see how the quality of them look like. So to me, that's how I look at the quality of my students once they're done with schooling. So I'll look at the first point is from the how are they absorbing the workplace, how are they doing for those who want to do innovation and all that, how are they innovating, and how are they being absorbed, how are they creating jobs for themselves. And sometimes you also want to run a survey with the employers to know, because we have people who cannot hire from university that I went to school in. And we say, no, I want to do that. Because sometimes the quality, the feedback that I also give is also based on my biases. Yeah, so I'll use those aspects to do. So you can also issue a survey to various employers just to see how your students look like. Now, Peter, thank you for that. Elizabeth, now how do you analyze the employee's performance? Now, performance is based on what was set as the targets. And I think you can, that's a bigger one, and you can actually look into it later on the side, because performance management is a bit tricky and there's a lot of things to be done. So, but the basic thing is that you need to check your performance based on what was set as the KPIs, what has been achieved, and then see how the employee has performed. It's just a target against the actuals. Then you can now cluster your employees based on what they have. So how do you calculate ROI on learning and development in financial terms? So I think I've discussed about this. I've given an example where you've trained Nelson, or you've trained your machine operators on a new machine. So if you are having 30 defects, you want to see the defects reduced to 10 or 20. So what is the value of reducing 10 defects? Mean that we are going to sell these 10 items without defects. So we're going to earn because we're reducing the number of defects. That is the financial terms. So financial terms, you can either be saving a cost or you are increasing the revenue. You save or you're increasing the revenue. So how do you measure ROI in the government agency, which is getting a capitation from National Treasury? So just as I said, you look into it into three aspects: either financial, if you're going to train and bring more money, or you're going to do economic activity, meaning you would see, like a good example, if in a government, let's say a county government, and you do a road. So what will this road lead to? Do we now have more people coming to the market because there's a new road or a well-maintained road? Are we now seeing other business being opened around this place? Those are now what we call economic ROIs. So because we did a proper road with the proper lights, have we seen the reduction in crime rates? If people are getting sexually abused, or people are still being stolen from, are they now not being stolen from? Yeah. So that is what I would want to look in if I was to check when it comes to the government agency. A great broader approach to business partnering. Thank you, Elisha. To add, as HRBP, it is also important to understand data integration from different sources to have a comprehensive view of the business. Yes, that's Joanne speaking. So Jedikan, that's Joanne speaking. It is true. We need to have a collaborative discussions, meaning you're going to get the data. So how does sales come in, or how do we get sales? How does this sales translate into production? That's like what we are doing here. We're saying that the sales and marketing team understands the demand. Yeah. So how will they advise the production team on what to actually produce? How will they advise production team on what to change in the production line to make us do a proper business? How will the defects? You see, sometimes NPS is done. Sales guys doesn't share this thing with HR to see the issues that are being raised. Some of the issues that are being raised could actually be sorted by HR themselves. Yeah. Okay. Someone Muriki is saying that I can add a metric on employee satisfaction score, which will entail measuring the contented employees are with the jobs and work environment in order to support the production. So yeah, that's correct, Samuel. I agree with you. You under the market share metric, what are the current customers' review rates on existing laptop brands, and what can we do to close the gap? Yes, we're just adding now new. Yes, now we're speaking as now analysts and business partners. Yes, what are we even setting ourselves a lower score of 80%? Yet Lenovo has got 90%. So do we even say that we want to compete below Lenovo, who is our competitor? Yeah. So that's good, Roberto. Then how do we determine expected returns per employee in terms of units to be produced? Now that is what we talk about in terms of units, that are in terms of unit cost of production and the pricing index that are going to be set. So you need to set a cost and then do a markup or a margin to understand the expected outcome. So that is, if I'm an accountant, then we know that after doing the costing, we'll add our margin into it and our markup into it, and then get a proper expected return. So that is how we get it. What challenges are you addressing in the market? Yes, Stephen Otana, we need to look into that. What are challenges are we addressing? That is the bit of understanding the product. Why are we producing a product? Like now we have got, I don't know whether you've seen it. I don't take this, but Red Bull, for those of us who have seen the advert for Red Bull, they now have Red Bull with sugar and the one without sugar. So what are they trying to address? I don't know whether you guys look at these adverts and understand what the business are doing. What are these people doing? Have they understood their product very well? They now know that maybe some of their customers who are diabetic have now stopped taking Red Bull because of a lot of sugar. So they're now producing one without sugar, just like Coca-Cola. So have you understood the market challenges that you want to address with your product? So estimated output level per employee to determine efficiency. Yes, value, that is true. John has added the point there. So how does social ROI add value to the business? Now, Fatma Ratman, this is how it adds value to the business. Have you walked along, it's actually even here, Safaricom here, M-Pesa Foundation. This is M-Pesa Safaricom Foundation. They have been doing an amazing job on when it comes to supporting, right, the social activities. So would you not want to work with these people so that you can actually be part of that good exercise? So they're actually even branding themselves as good employers to have. That's number one. Number two, I want to believe that M-Pesa Foundation does not actually depend on their own profits to support. They're also attracting more donors to come and support them. Yeah. So it is a way that helps to increase the value of a company economically as a good employer, where you can now attract good employees. And remember that we have something called ESG. ESG, if you have never heard of it, is there. Sustainability is something that's now coming in that we operate in an environment that we pollute. So how do we rectify it? So social ROI says that you are actually solving a problem that you might have created. So you are a responsible business. Yeah. So yes, is there performance measurements that can be used to track costs associated by quiet quitting staff? Yes, there is. If you look at it keenly, you know that someone who is yet to quit or not quitting, they don't perform to their level standards. That you can get when you have set targets versus actual performance. And then you can now do your data backwards and get the costings. So thank you, Angeline. Then Kate, also for government, the utilization of the resources computation is also key element. So thank you. And I want to believe Jelly can have tackled all questions that were there. And should anyone have more questions, can actually still ask so that I can give a proper answers if what I've given is not proper enough. So I want to conclude by just saying this, yeah, that you might not be there, but you can join in the game. So how do you join the game? Remember, we said that you have to be a domain expertise. You can't be a business partner who doesn't know how to recruit. Yeah. So you have first to understand your craft, as we had said earlier, because you have to be a domain expert. So understand the business. Know which business you are in, what they do, how do they make their money. And once you ask these questions, I'm telling you, maths will actually come out. You will now start doing mathematics, because what we're just saying here are just words. These words you don't convince until you start doing mathematics and understand. Start doing a research. Yeah. Assess current skill level. What is the current skill level? You as a person, where do you feel that you're not there? Is it analytics, beat now the mathematical part? You can hire someone to work as an analyst on the side, but do you understand? Do you have the analytical mindset? Can you logically reason and ask questions? Yeah. Assess your skill level. So can you do data literacy courses that are there? You just look into that and now know what data is that. Choose analytical tool. That is just like someone has asked here, which tool do I use? I commonly use Excel. It's a good tool. You can use it. It will help you. If you're in HR, there are also HR systems. They have even come up. They're actually even done with some have come up with dashboards. If you are in sales, there is the the CRMs. In finance, we have also financial systems that actually help with analysis of data that we have. Power BI are also there. So get a mentor. Sometimes get into this role doesn't just require expertise and all that. You also need someone who can walk you through the journey of a business partnership role. So not that you can just walk in and shine probably. So maybe at your level you may need a mentor. Then it is always a continuous learning process. You can't wake up today and become a perfect business partner. You have to be continually learning to update yourself because things happen around the business and even around you things change. So how do you keep yourself on tabs? So basically what I was looking at today is challenging us into how do we ask logical questions that will enhance our analytical thinking, that will give us that chance to now look into numbers and interpret what we have for business success. Remember, you are a business partner, not because of domain expertise, but because of business strategies. That's where you are looking into. That's what we are looking into achieving. So thank you very much. And I want to keep it to that point. Should you have any question, that's my number. You can always reach out. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nelson. You've done an amazing job. That was very meticulous. One of the questions I could like to ask, at what point in time should an organization decide to have a human resource business partner? At what point of the growth should they decide that now we need a human resource business partner?
Okay, that's a general question to all of us. The people will also chip in. They can also chip in through the chat section. But to me, just like analytical skills, I would say that there's no right time for a business to hire business partner, whether in finance or in what. And then I would not say that there is a title of a business partner, because as you have seen, it's just a position, someone who is in a position who is inquisitive and is pro business strategy. So as long as the company has a strategy to be achieved, then we need partners. People who don't only think on their domain expertise, but look at the business as a whole. So to me, there's no right time. So unless someone has got a different opinion here, but to me, from where I sit, I know there are people in OD, they can tell us that. You see, I'm just talking from the point of analyst. On the OD side, they can tell us when is the right time. But to me, any time is a good time, as long as you have a strategy to be achieved. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nelson. That is, this time we were having coffee with somebody and we were arguing who is senior. Is it the human resource business partner or the traditional human resource practitioner? And that debate has never been settled. I don't know if you have done research into who is senior and how does it differ from the traditional role of human resource practitioner.
Okay. With how this role has been is that the other HR that we always have is a generalist, and we focus on more on the administrative bit because of our domain expertise. Yeah. So the HR director will always be there, and the HR director will always be on top of all issues in the business. Yeah. Meaning they'll be doing everything. So they are more of the day-to-day activities of HR to ensure that we actually within the line. Now, a HRBP, so if a company has got a HR manager or a senior HR manager or a HR director and have a HRBP, then the HRBP in most cases will always be tied to a given business function. So you'll find HRBP IT or HRBP shared services or HRBP operation. Yeah, because they want you to just use your HR in disciplinary hearings or disciplinary management. Use that skill in disciplinary hearing to manage operations team, make them perform better in handling their cases because you understand it. So that's where we are saying that these roles, the normal HR director will still be the top, and the HRBP will still be there, not far away. But I saw some article on LinkedIn. I need to get it and maybe share with Grace to share with us on the difference between HRBP and HR normal regional HR manager role, so that we see where they sit in. But based on the value, it depends with your value as a person and the company you are working for. Yeah. Unless someone, I know there are OD people here. Why should I struggle with this issue when the OD people are here? Yes.
Thank you, Nelson. What other skills do you think should a human resource business partner should have besides the mathematical aspect of calculating certain facts, certain statistics, so that they can be able to understand the business? What other skills should they have?
HR should be tech savvy. Yeah. You're a HR who is not tech savvy, then there's a problem for you because things have now really transformed very fast. So you need to catch up with people. That is one that I'll also add in. Then number two, which I've also been singing here, is about collaborative. A skill. I don't know whether there's a skill on collaboration as a skill or a teamwork as a skill. Because some of these things that we are asking ourselves here, if you can't collaborate, then you'll never achieve, even if you can ask proper analytical questions. I have been to companies where you can ask very good questions, but because of lack of collaboration, you will never move to the next step. And then stakeholder management, because HRBP role is more of a stakeholder. You want to work with the junior most person to the topmost person in that kind of a sector or a section or a business unit that must actually be fulfilled. So how do you handle the cases properly that would actually make the topmost guy also happy? So stakeholder management is also a key thing because that is the bigger role of HRBP. Now, I'm in operations as the HRBP operations, but still I need to go to marketing and tell them why the data that they give to operations team was actually not correct. If you cannot manage stakeholders, then there will be a problem. So I would not want to add more because the major thing is the domain expertise, analytical skill or mindset or logical reasoning. Then we now need to have the collaborative bit. We now need to have the stakeholder management. And we can close in with the emotional intelligence, where my friend Vic, I don't know whether Vic is here. We always arguing over that emotional intelligence, over IQ, but it's well. We also need it to have the AI. Yes, the AI.
Very good. I don't know if you have done research. What is the average for those people who are motivated by money, especially in Kenya now? Okay, today we have got people from Nigeria. We have Frank from the UK. We have people from Tanzania. What is the average remuneration of a human resource practitioner if I'm motivated by remuneration? If I want to,
Yes.
go on.
Okay, I didn't understand you properly.
The question is, what is supposing I want to go for a position of human resource business partner, and I want to answer the question, what are your salary expectations? How should I approach this question when I am interested in this role?
Okay. I wanted to pull the report here. I didn't foresee that question coming up. But salaries are very interesting. I will tell you this, Jalika. Now, the other day I was with my friend and we were saying that every job has got money. The problem is the company where you are currently. There's a HR assistant being paid 100,000 Kenya shillings. Another one is paid 40,000 Kenya shillings. The same roles, the same skills, but different company and industry. So If you are to get a HRBP role, it will depend with which industry we are in. In our last research that we did, the tech companies were paying better than agricultural sector. Agricultural sector actually were the least in terms of payments. Then security industry. The topmost were in manufacturing, were in tech and telecommunication. They were paying better compared to others. So which industry are you going into? That's number one. Number two, I'm going to that industry. Where am I currently? And I will give you a free advice. If today, okay, I don't know whether it will be used against me, but if you are earning below 50,000, you go to another interview, 50,000 Kenya shillings, go to another interview today, then it should be times 2. Let's start from there. Let them cry to give you 50% of what you've asked, but that's because when you're leaving that position, you are actually even now better person and your mind has broadened. So if you can actually substantiate what you have, then why can't you ask for times 2? Why I'm saying that, because most in our Kenyan market, we tend to stay longer in between 50 to 100 because of one, it's believed that that is the best rate ever. It is easier to pay, but then you're offering the same skills. So if you can prove your worth, the below 50,000 or below 100,000, then you need to double it, because where you're going to next is not, you're not going to do the same things that you've been doing there. So you shouldn't be asking for less than that. So for HRBP, the average salary was 350,000 shillings from the last survey that I did. The average. There were guys who were earning 150, some were 140, some were 100, others were up to 600,000, up to 700,000, depending on the company and industry that you are in. That was gross and Kimani. The average was 350,000. Actually, that report was supposed to be bought, but now I've released it. Yes, Jelica.
Thank you so much, Nelson, for those very insightful points that you have given unto us. We hope that we are going to be better stewards of our organization. We are going to be better. We are going to be people who provide value in our organizations for them to develop and also for our professional development. As you prepare for your parting shot, what to say as we wait for Nelson to prepare his parting shot? Grace, are you there? I can see Jacinta has placed the link to join Get It Right, where you'll be updated on the meetings that happen, like the one that is going to be in Mombasa. So join that group so that you can stay informed. Grace, over to you. Do you have something to say? All right. Looks like Grace has gone, and I could like you, Nelson, to give us the parting shots of tonight's
Okay.
conversation.
Thank you, and I want to appreciate this team that is here, but I want to challenge us today. For those of, I know most of us here are HR, so I just want to give an example with the HR. So forgive me, those who are not in HR, forgive me for that. If you are in HR and you are a HRBP and you are looking to hire someone in a position, so let's say Nelson has been in your company for 2 years, so you want to replace Nelson after 2 years. My advice is this: when you are hiring for Nelson, the job description will remain the same, but you have two things to consider. Nelson who joined 1 year ago or 2 years ago, and Nelson who is leaving. Those were two different people performing differently. That's one thing to consider. Number one is that you have two things: the same role, the same JD, but the person who came 2 years ago may not have known even how to do reports. The person who is leaving now know how to do the reports that can be accepted. That is number one. Number two, the person who came 2 years ago was having 50,000, which you never increased, or you increased by 5,000. So they're living at 55,000, going to a job that might be better paying, even up to 80,000. So if you're looking for Nelson who came 2 years ago, you can keep your 55 budget that the Nelson that was living had. If you're looking to hire Nelson who has left, then you need to pay almost the amount that he's going to get in the next employer. Why? Because the value of that position in your company has actually even increased. So the person that you're going to find will be almost towards Nelson that is leaving. So analysis will help us ask questions, justify why you need to break the budget to the next level. It will not only help you that, but will also increase your value in the company that you work for. So that is my insight to the team. And I would say that let's continue doing what we do in HR and think numbers and combine with the business objectives. Understand what the business want to achieve and run with it. Yeah.
We can appreciate Nelson using any sticker that you think will be able to send gratitude to Nelson. Thank you so much. May God bless you, Nelson. I am your host, or I was your host, Richard J. Magoma. When you're thinking of HR consultancy, think of Atara Solutions, getting it right. Don't take that business anywhere. Please think of Atara Solutions for HR consultancy and other related functions that support organizations. This was an amazing and a very incredible discussion that we need also to look further into it as the days goes by. Remember to be here every Tuesday from 8 to 9. Richard J. Magoma is a writer, a trainer. Thank you so much. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much. Good night, Nelson.
And good night to everyone. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Faith Miracle Ahura. Thank you so much for your appreciation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jocelyn Wafula, for the appreciation. Lilian Adwe, thank you very much for the appreciation. Amon Tikoko, thank you so much. Francisca Mwikali, thank you so much as well. Femi Ade from Nigeria, I believe, thank you so much for being here. Will Brother, thank you so much for your appreciation. Frank, thank you so much. We hope the weather is very kind to you. Francisca, can someone ask a question out of the topic? Oh my goodness, we have already closed. Maybe next Tuesday. Odhiambo Felix, thank you so much for the appreciation. Jacinta Karwanji has provided the link to getting it right. Thank you so much. Good night. See you on Tuesday.